Part 1. I guess, if you're being clinical about it, you'd say I'm paranoid. And if you wanted to put a fine point on it, you could say I feel like I'm being watched. A lot. You know the feeling. You're walking back to your car, you just feel eyes on you. Sure, ostensibly there's no one there, but they're watching. Waiting. For what? Does it matter? The real terrors in life come from the things we can't see. Any horror fan will tell you that while a good jump scare will get your blood pumping, it's the unknown that will keep you up at night. And life, at least in my opinion, is full of unknowns. And it's the unknown that does keep me up at night. Has for quite some time. I couldn't tell you how long I've suffered from insomnia, but it's been a while. Or maybe not. The thing about not sleeping is that it doesn't take much to really fuck with your sense of time. I guess, again, if you're being clinical about it, you'd call my condition chronic. I've always been a light sleeper. My mom told me once that as a baby she would come to check on me at night, only to find me, silent as a church mouse, just staring. Not at anything she could see, mind you, but definitely staring at something. She said it really used to give her the willies. So much so that at some point she brought in the parish priest, I come from a long and proud line of Irish Catholics, you see, a few times to bless our house, and my nursery in particular. I say a few times, but the truth is, while it started as an occasional thing, it got to be so often that eventually Father Donald suggested my mother seek less spiritual and more therapeutic help. If you're being clinical about it, I guess you'd say he was calling her paranoid. While I'm on the subject, I guess it stands to mention that Father Donald also used words like unhealthy when describing my mother's attention to me as a child. But what do I know? I guess if anyone is an expert on unhealthy adult-child relationships, it's a Catholic priest. As I got older, we drifted from being devout churchgoers to Christmas and Easter regulars. The instances of Mom finding me staring seemed to taper off. Sure, we still occasionally went to Sunday Mass, but I don't think my mother ever really trusted Father Donald again. Something about being called crazy by a man who agreed not to fuck for the sake of a magic baby's legacy didn't sit well with her. As a child, oblivious to the world in the wonderful way only children can be, I didn't mind at all. We had a good run for a while, my mother and I. We were happy. We were carefree. We slept through the night. All that changed when I turned 14. Mom caught me with an old copy of Penthouse, and Mom decided maybe a growing teenager did need some religion. She never called it religion, of course. Structure, discipline, those were the words she used. And they came in the form of a group known as the Friends of Amalthea. The FOA was really nothing more than a collection of other single mothers obsessed with Amalthea Reynolds, a self-described expert on single parenting, that wrote a book called Just the Two of Us, which made it to the New York Times bestseller list after being featured in Oprah's book club. It was mostly practical wisdom with a healthy dose of new agey sounding buzzwords thrown in. The central theme, though, was helping your child find the sacred truth. With vagaries like that, no wonder the middle-aged, day-drunk single mom market ate it up. So, Mom and her crew of aforementioned day-drunk single mothers formed their own little chapter of the FOA and set out to raise the boys to be the men they hadn't managed to keep. Oh yeah, the FOA almost exclusively had boys. All but one, Kathy, who had a daughter named Summer. The meeting started as just the moms getting together and discussing the book, how they'd applied it to parenting, and generally complaining about how hard it is to raise teenage boys. Except Kathy, of course. While she was personally invited to join the group, there always seemed to be a disconnect of some sort, like they intentionally kept her at arm's length. It was almost as though there was some inside joke that she was never going to be in on. Everything changed when Amalthea Reynolds decided to go on tour, with a stop close enough to our town for all of them to go. In retrospect, they probably would have traveled as far as they needed to go to see their guru, but as it was, they only had to drive about an hour for the weekend seminar. Now, I don't know exactly what the seminar involved, but whatever it was, my mother, along with the rest of the FOA, came back different. They now had a mission. That's when the weekly group activities started. At first, they were normal. Innocuous meetups at local arcades or trips to see a movie. As a group of teenage boys, we got along okay. Some of us had more of a rapport with each other than others, but we all generally got along. Except Summer. She always seemed nervous around us. For the life of me, I don't know why. If nothing else, our mothers imparted the importance of respect for women above all else. They were raising us to be better than the men that had failed them. We all saw Summer as a way to practice the catechisms of respect and honor that were drilled into us. I guess maybe there was too much pressure on her to be a guinea pig. Whatever it was, she stopped coming after about 4 get-togethers. After that, things got weirder and darker. To start with, we stopped having fun hangouts at the movies and we started meeting at each other's houses. About 6 weeks into what we started calling the Church of FOA, the mom started encouraging us to explore our bodies with each other. No, that's not accurate. Not with each other. Around each other. We were provided a variety of porn to help facilitate the process. The moms would all commiserate upstairs with voices that were increasingly hushed and worried. There was also an urgency to their meetings that seemed to be growing. Meanwhile, we'd all retire to the basement and, for lack of a better description, watch each other masturbate. We were told to critique each other, both on technique and stamina. At first, yeah, it was uncomfortable. We weren't what I'd call a worldly or experienced group of guys, and not at all prepared to be naked around each other, let alone watch each other do what is maybe the most private thing a person can do. It was too much for some of us. One by one, guys stopped showing up to church. It was okay, though. Those of us that stuck with it eventually got used to it, and even looked forward to our sessions. After all was said and done, 6 of us had become veritable masters at making the moment last. Then, as oddly and suddenly as it all had started, it ended. One day I was getting ready for church when I looked up to see my mother looming in my bedroom doorway, looking disappointed and angry. We weren't going to church today, she told me, and probably not ever again. To be continued.